there's no way around it. I mean, there's no other word for it. I'm sorry. I just cannot stand it. But the world that we live in requires it. I do remember while I was trying not to pay attention last night, I do remember the first king that we ever had. His name was Saul. That's right, very good. Glad y'all are all here tonight. Saul, David, Solomon were the three kings of the United Kingdom. Saul, David, Solomon. Saul, first king. And the last judge, whose name was, very good, y'all are Bible students. What? Yes. Samuel, okay. Did you get to him? Okay. And when the king, when all the people said, we want a king like all the other nations. We want to be like all the other nations. We want a king. We want to get into politics. It's like, are you kidding me? And God said, Samuel, don't take this against yourself. I mean, this is not your bad. This is not against you. God said, this is against me. My people are denying me, are not relying on me, and they want a king to rule over them. So I thought about that last night when we was going through the debate, and we have got to, this is just a sidebar in a soapbox. It's not our president. We've got to put our full reliance, our full dependence on the Almighty God. And again, thank you, David, for that devotional. Because as people, as human beings, when something happens, when something wrong happens, at work, at home, at play, we always want to play the blame game. The blame game. That's what we saw in Genesis chapter 2. Adam blaming Eve, Eve blaming the serpent. And then in return for all this, we have forgiveness. And that's what I want us to think about tonight and talk about tonight. So there's several different types of forgiveness. It's a vertical forgiveness where God forgives us. And do we need this forgiveness, Lyndall? I mean, is this something that is required? I mean, is something that we need? Absolutely. I mean, we can't go a minute out of a day without God watching over us and picking us back up. We've got to have God's forgiveness. So we've got God's forgiveness. We've got forgiveness that others give us. And mainly, I might say it's a continual forgiveness as far as I'm concerned. And Melody's shaking her head, probably yes. But and then there's a forgiveness that we give others. And that's what I want to focus on, is the forgiveness, us forgiving other people. God forgives us just as we forgive others. Matthew chapter 6. I believe it's verses 12 and 13. I'm not sure. Yeah, David Myers tells us that the model prayer says, as we forgive those that trespass against us. God forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us. Dealing with inhabit nursing facility. I talked with the chaplain quite a few times, several times, and we had some great conversations. And you know, a lot of it was me asking and inquiring. You know, what are some of the things that you hear? What are the, you know, maybe some of the last minute thoughts? What are, you know, those type things. And he says it's always about forgiveness. And there was a book written by a hospice chaplain, and he goes on to say that the majority of the time it is something like, my child will never forgive me for what I've done. My wife will never forgive me for what I've done. My son, you know, he's never going to forgive me for what I've done. Scott, you're mastering in counseling right now, right? You mind taking over the class for us? But that's I'm exactly right. I majored in counseling, and that's what it is. Well, let me just put it this way. 3 of the hardest things for a man to say: I love you, I'm sorry, and Worcestershire sauce. Still right. Still right. I'm sorry. I don't understand why it's so hard for men to say, I'm sorry. Now, men, we have this attitude of macho, we've got to keep our figure or whatever, and if you do something to me, then yeah, we'll talk about it. But if you do something to my wife, you do something to my child, then I'm going to throat punch you. You know, I'm going to retaliate. I'm going to do something to get back. I'm going to get even. I'm going to do whatever. Am I still correct? Oh, okay. I'm still correct. It's tough for us guys for some reason. But we have over 167 times in the Bible, it commands us to forgive others. Wow. Over 167 times, God, in His inspired word, through His own breath, speaking through men, tells us, commands us to forgive others. And in fact, in order for us to get forgiven, what must we do? David? Forgive others. In order for us to be forgiven vertically, we've got to forgive others. And it seems like, and this is the life lesson, it seems like it becomes a task to us. It's something that we must do. You understand that? It's like it's demanded of us, it's commanded of us. It's something, it's like a task that we must do. Peter, Lord, how many times do we have to forgive our brother? 7 times? No, Peter. Yea, 70 times. 70 times 7, I have 490. Do you think that's the number we stop at? No. It's a continual forgiveness. This is so important for us to have this full life that Christ gives us. Christianity is great, and I can't say that too many times, because God gives us everything that we need right here. And as long as we do His will, then we're going to have the fullest life that you can ever imagine. You're going to have the greatest life you can ever imagine. And part of that is forgiveness. Now, if you're carrying a weight on your shoulder throughout the majority of your life, that's not going to be a full life. That's going to be pretty tough. Proverbs chapter 17, if you will. This is going to be our kind of like go-to verse. Although we're going to look at several others. But this one right here, it really spoke out to me. And I brought the New King James Version. Who has the New International Version? Someone in here does. Huh? You read it for me, please, Randall? 7, I'm sorry. 17 verse 9. Proverbs 17 verse 9. Proverbs 17 verse 9. He who covers a transgression, whoever would foster love, covers over an offense. Here we go, forgiveness. I didn't understand I couldn't really hear you. Whoever would foster love covers over an offense, but whoever repeats the matter separates close friends. So, at the root of all of this, the first and greatest commandment is, Johnny, the first and greatest commandment is love. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. Second commandment is just like it. Tell me what it is. It's love also. It's love. So at the root of all of this, Proverbs 17 and verse 9, whoever fosters love covers over an offense. Mine says, he who covers a transgression seeks love. And I'm sure there's a lot of other different ways that you can say it. But if we're going to have this love that God requires of us, then part of that is forgiveness. But Larry, wait. Larry, you don't understand. You don't know what they did to me. You don't know how hard they hurt me. You know, counselors will uncover secrets from the past that date back to childhood. And it's something that is uncovered that has gone unforgiven. It's like, wow, where'd that come from? I didn't even remember that, but man, I need to get forgiveness on that. I need to forgive someone on that. Let me give you 3 F's, and there's probably no way I'll ever get through all these, but this will help us in the in the forgiving. The first F is forgetting. Forgiveness is not forgetting. Now, don't get these two confused. Forgiveness is forgiving someone a wrong that they've done to you, even if they haven't asked. Maybe it is someone that can't ask. Maybe it's coming from someone that's passed on. Maybe it's coming from someone that has moved off, as you can't get in touch with anymore. But still, we are the forgiving people because of love. We forgive regardless of what it is. But now forgetting is something different. We have, because of who we are, and even Jesus had his inner circle, Peter, Andrew, James, and John. We have our inner circle, and let's just call those level 1 friends. And then we have level 2 friends and level 3 friends, and then we got Facebook friends, and if one of our inner circle, Scott's my, I don't know if y'all know it, but we pretty much, I mean, yeah. If he went up to the mount, he would ask me to go, wouldn't you? If Scott did something to me, then I would immediately forgive him. And it's my duty to do, and Scott would do the same for me. And has many times, because I've made fun of so many things that you've said and done. I'm sorry. Again, I'm sorry. 491. I've just been cut off. Well, and just because someone wrongs you that's in your inner circle, you don't forget what they've done. Maybe they've moved out to level 2, maybe level 3. But I mean, if you lend someone money, they don't repay you, you don't lend them money again immediately. Of course, you forgive them, but you don't lend them money. I mean, you don't let them ride on your shoulders for the rest of your life. You move them on out to level 2 or level 3. So forgetting is not forgiveness. That's the first F. Second F is fair. If you're waiting on someone to ask for forgiveness, then you may never give it. You may never get it. You're going to have to forgive. You're going to have to forgive. Rachel was so kind to let me borrow a bottle of water. This water may not seem like anything. I mean, I'm going to hold it out like this. How much does this bottle of water weigh? It's 16 ounces. Is that 16 ounce pounds? Is that what that is? Or is that fluid ounces? Or is it 16 ounces? That how much it weighs? Mathematicians? Okay. It weighs 16 ounces, I guess. It's not heavy at all. It's really not. I mean, I could hold this out here for a long time. It's actually a little nuisance right now. I mean, I would not want to walk around life with 16 ounces hanging off the end of my hand, but I can. You know, a lot of people do. A lot of people just walk around with, weight hanging off. It's actually starting to get a little heavy now. I could probably hold this longer. Todd's not in here, so I could hold it 2 or 3 hours longer than Todd, I'm sure. But would I want to hold this for 2 hours? Negative. I would have permanent damage. I would probably tear every ligament that I had in my shoulder. And it's actually starting to hurt pretty bad. Thank you. And that's what happens is we carry this around with us for so long that it hurts so bad. It's damaging. That would physically damage me if I was to hold it up for for 5 days. No, for a long time. It would physically damage me. But just think about what it's doing to your spiritual life. Man, we've got someone transgressed us. Someone has faulted us. Someone has done something to us. And we're still holding on to that. Man, we've got to let that go. It's not fair. I know you want to throat punch them. I know you want to get them back. That's not love. That's not love. Love covers transgressions. And the last F is final. Forgiving is not the final. I mean, you've forgiven them, but as we said, it's not forgetting. It's not fair. It's not final. But 70 times 7 is not final either, is it? It's a continual act that we do. It's a continual love that we have for God's people is why we continually do it. It's like chiropractic. I don't know if you've been to the chiropractor before or not, but I've been a couple of times and it helped. They cracked all my bones, and then they wanted me to come back in they actually wanted me to come back that week. And because, I couldn't stay adjusted. They adjusted me, but the way my body was shaped, they wanted to keep me adjusted. And then a week after that, they'd want to adjust me again. And that's the way forgiveness is. It's chiropractic. It's like, man, we've got to continually do this, or else we're going to be bent out of shape. We've forgotten what love is because we're not willing to forgive. Matthew 18, 21 through 22. Trent, if you will, turn to there. Hey, this class, you don't even have to turn your Bible. You just have Matthew 18, 21, 22. He is awake. From the New International Version. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times, verse 21. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked 7 times, verse 22. Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. It's a continual act. Matthew chapter 6, 14 and 15, David. If you'll bring that up. Matthew chapter 6, 14, 15. And while he's finding that, I'm going to turn over to Colossians. Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians. Colossians 3:13 says, bearing with one another and here it is. This is a good part. And forgiving one another. If anyone has a complaint against another, even as Christ forgave you, so you also must do. Wow. Just as Christ forgave me, I've got to forgive everyone else. Is that right? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. And I won't be teaching nothing that's wrong. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Verse 15. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. Wow, it's a must. Okay, so we understand this is not vertical, and it's not the sin that's coming, or the forgiveness that's coming from other people. It's us giving outward forgiveness. Trent, can you put those pictures back up, please? Oh, this is hard. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things. The pictures of those houses, oh, they're called spite. S-P-I-T-E, spite houses. The one house that's on the right. Hey, Trent, you still with us, bro? There we go. I saw a light. The house on the right, $4 million house when he built it. Of course, now down in Sarasota, you could probably build one a little cheaper right now. $4 million house, and it's right on the ocean, or it was. You see, he built that house, and as he was building it, this man came up to him and said, maybe you didn't know it, but there's a lot in front of you. It's 65 inches wide. That's how tall I was in the 9th grade. That's 6'3". Yeah, I was never 6'3". It's 65 inches wide and the length of your house. He said, I'm going to sell it to you for $1 million. And the guy said, are you crazy? I'm not going to buy that lot. Ain't no one going to do nothing with that lot. He said, yeah, you're going to buy it. If you don't buy it, then I'm going to build on it. He didn't buy it. The guy built on it. And the guy that's on the right, who built the house on the right, took him to court, and the judge did everything he could to say, no, it's 65 inches. You cannot build a house on 65 inches. And then the final ruling was, the judge said, all right, you can build the house, but you must dwell in it. So he lived. He built the house, and he lived in 65-inch wide house. Actually, it ended up being 54 inches wide, and that's our time. 54 inches wide, and he had to live in there. That's what forgiveness is like. Go to the second one real quick, and then we'll dismiss. You go to the second house, the second picture. Did you give him a second picture? You got to see this next one too. It was a man and his wife. They divorced, and the divorce was not a good divorce. Can you go to the second picture, please? Oh, he left. He went home. Trent has gone home. He rang the bell and ran. the divorce was not good, so the judge said, y'all have to split everything. And the man said, I'm not leaving my house. I built this house. I'm not leaving the house. And it is history. And Trent, you can't find it? He's smiling, and he's holding both hands up in dismay. And so it was a beautiful house. There it is. It's a beautiful house. And so the judge said, okay, we're going to split everything real quick. We're going to split everything. And, sir, you must build an identical house for your ex-wife. And he did. He built that house way out in the desert where there was no access, no one could get to it, and no one even wanted to go near. This is the house that he built for her out of spite. She never lived in it. It's called forgiveness. Actually, it's called love. From love, we have forgiveness. Appreciate y'all's attention. I'll be looking for every one of you back next Wednesday night, and bring a friend with you.